How to make decisions. So, as an adjunct to yesterday's video, I want to talk about specifically. I got some notes here right in front of me as well. That's what I'm going to be looking down. In the process of making a decision, how do you actually make it? And how do you know that it's the right decision to make? So, let's go through the process together. First of all, when you consider, because you're going to be sitting in silence, you're going to be thinking about, what's coming up, what you should be doing, what you want to be doing. What decision should you make? What should you do? Which direction you should go? How should you act? What's the next right move? What's a priority item? So that's the first thing. Determine what is the priority, because you don't want to make decisions that presuppose the initial decision that you have to make in order to actually get started, which means that if you want to make music, don't start creating a logo. You got to start producing the actual music itself. So don't do something down the line. If you want to create a business, don't start incorporating if you have no idea what your business is going to be. Just think about specifically what kind of business that you want to create. If you get the idea, you get the drift. If you want to make it, if you want to do something, don't think about the 3 decisions or 4 decisions down the line. Think about the first initial step that you have to take in order for you to bridge the gap from where you are to where you want to be, or the first step to where you want to be going eventually. So when you consider it, you have to ask yourself what emotion arises. First of all, make sure that when you make decisions in general, this is a general principle, that you're making decisions from a place of equanimity, tranquility. You're at a state of peace. That's the ideal scenario. I know sometimes it's not always going to occur that way. You might be emotional and you might feel excited, so you're making a decision. You might feel angry, and so you make another decision based off of the anger that you're feeling or the joy that you're feeling. The ideal state that you want to be in is a place of inner peace, tranquility, where there's nothing really going on. You're neutral and you're able to just be a pure observer and find out what needs to be done and make the assessment, not necessarily rationally. You are making a rational assessment, but the place from which everything arises is a place of stillness. And so you can actively do things to actually put yourself in that place, such as working out, such as meditation, such as just sitting still, reading a book, closing it, finding out when are you most receptive to that kind of information that you can channel, and is that in the morning or is that in the evening? Is it before you go to sleep? So find out what situation you have to put yourself in so you can embody that state, and then you could start making decisions. So when you consider it, when you consider that decision, what actually arises internally? Is it fear? Is it insecurity? Is it doubt? Is it anxiety? Is it hopefulness? Is it excitement? Is it a combination of those things as well? Is there hesitation involved? Is there excitement? I may mention that. So determine what actually arises when you're thinking about the decision that you want to make. Here is the key. You can find out specifically where this feeling is located in your body, whether it's in your head or whether it's in your solar plexus or whether it's in your gut, and you could kind of sit with that for a second. But you really have to ask yourself, you have to go to that part of your body and ask, now that your attention is on that part of the body, wherever it is, what do you actually need from yourself in order for you to actually make that decision? You don't have to make that decision confidently, because here's the actual trick to this whole thing. You don't actually conjure your confidence or assume that you require confidence to make the decision. You bring the insecurity and the doubt with you, and then you'll find your confidence on the other side, which means that you listen, you can feel confident. It's very possible that you will feel confident when you make a decision, even though you feel fearful. But there are other instances where you will just feel fear and insecurity and doubt, and you have to be able to talk to yourself in a way. You have to self-parent yourself. This is another tactic that I've used very, very frequently for a number of years that has helped me tremendously, is a self-parenting. Actively talking to myself and telling myself specific things that I wish I would have heard more of when I was growing up, or things that I never heard that I would have wanted to hear, that would have created a feeling inside me that would allow me to make bold and courageous decisions, that would allow me to confront challenges head on. So find what you would need from yourself, what you would need for you to feel those feelings that you want to feel, and then you have to communicate that to yourself. A good tactic to actually do that is recording voice memos. I do this every morning. I actually record, I hit record, and I just record a voice memo, and I basically speak into it. And I do my gratitude practice there as well. I talk about my day. Especially if I don't have any deep insights to impart, I'll just start talking just so I can get my motor running. You rev the engine so you can get that part of your brain active, that thinking part of your brain active. And I'll have a dialogue with myself, and then it'll also help me reflect, and then I'll meditate, I'll write a journal. I'll do those three things in some particular order that feels most natural to me, so that way I can, get synchronized and be integrated in that morning, and then I can kind of proceed with the rest of my day from a centered place, a place where I feel like everything has been aligned. And it doesn't take me that long. It takes me maybe, depends on the day, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, at the most an hour, but usually not that long. It could take 30 minutes. Like I'll meditate for 15 minutes. The memo, yeah, so maybe around 40 minutes, something like that, maybe 45 minutes. And so those are my practices. But you really have to do those things. First thing that you have to do is get yourself to a place of peace, tranquility, whatever that happens to be for you, whether it's in the evening or first thing in the morning, whether you have to do a routine or not, doesn't really matter. But you want to make sure that you're calm and you're not feeling any emotional highs or emotional lows. So you're not making decisions based out of depression and anxiety, and you're not making decisions out of elation and excitement. You want to be at a pretty stable point, and you're going to find a stable point in your day anyway, even on the most. And say, for example, if you can't find that stable point, then you'll get yourself to that stable point, which means that if you're low, the best thing that you can do if you want to make decisions is go outside, go for a walk, treat yourself to a coffee or something like that, and come back, maybe read a book. Try to put yourself in a state, right? Try to put yourself in that state where you can make a clear decision. You want to get to a point of clarity, a mental clarity. And conversely, if you're excited and if you're elated, then you need to take a couple of steps back and really allow yourself to calm down and to reach a more stable baseline, just so you can make a decision. Because sometimes your impulses can get the better of you, and you think you want to do something, you make a decision, you fall off because you made it from an altered state of consciousness, and you can't sustain that, or you won't sustain that. Maybe you will, but it's very likely that it's not going to be sustainable, because when you initially made that decision, you were at a place that you don't inhabit consistently on a daily basis, and that's not your most lived in state, the most common state that you actually experience on a daily basis. The most common state is going to be somewhere ranging in the middle, right? So you're going to have extreme highs, extreme lows, and you're going to have all this stuff. So you want to get as close to the baseline as possible, where you're tranquil and you're equanimous internally. Then you start to consider the decisions that you need to make, and find out what comes up inside of you, and talk to yourself in such a way that will help you, that will coach you. You're like your own coach. You're self-parenting yourself. You're speaking to yourself in such a way that's going to allow you to give you the encouragement and the confidence to make that decision. And even if you don't feel confident, the important thing to do, step 3, is to actually don't conjure the feelings that you want to experience. Make the decision, and you're going to find your feelings on the other side. And that's pretty much it. Those are the 3 steps. There's a lot more to say here, but those are the 3 main steps as far as making a decision. The first thing that you have to do is get yourself into a stable state. Whatever you have to do to get yourself there, do it. Whether it's meditation, whether it's working out, whether it's going for a walk, reading, it could be morning or night, but get yourself to that point. Then you start to envision specifically what you want to be doing, and think about the decisions that you could make, prioritize, right? What's number 1, and then allow yourself to experience how that feels, and then communicate to yourself in such a way that it's going to facilitate the decision-making process. Now, there's a whole group of individuals out there that advocate calling yourself a bitch and you're a pussy and, man up, or, if you're a woman, I don't know what they say, but you can do that and it can help you in the short term, but you really have to ask yourself, is the action that you're practicing going to develop a long-term sustainable habit. So in other words, do you want to call yourself a bitch for the next 30 years of your life? Probably not. It's probably not the best approach to take. So if you don't see yourself doing that for the next 30, 40 years of your life, and you don't want to do that, you don't want to continue to berate yourself, you have to find a different approach to actually get yourself in that place. So get yourself in that state, think about the decisions that you potentially can make, prioritize which one is number one. When you figure out what decision you want to make, that you want to make, think about or experience what it is that you're feeling, communicate to yourself in a way that is encouraging and that will promote confidence, then make the decision, and then understand that you're going to feel uncomfortable along the way. And whatever emotions that you want to experience, the positive emotions, they will come as a result of you going through that process. Don't expect yourself to experience the emotions first. Expect yourself to be fearful, to be insecure, to be anxious. Expect all that. It's very standard, but just resolve that you're going to take the action anyway, because you know that it's really the right thing based off of your own internal assessment of who you are and where you want to go. So I'll leave it there for now. I hope that was helpful, and I'll catch you in the next video.